me. In other words, anyone can take their art and go down to King Street and Kings Park and be part of this project. Yeah. Okay, you know, ViewPort is for Newporters. Yeah. Correctly. Okay, you know, and what identifies an artist? Unfortunately, people who don't see themselves as artists, okay, don't understand that they are, and that they are welcome to be able to, you know, to represent themselves and let people see what's on their mind. Because really, what art is what's on the artist's mind.
Well, I think that
yeah.
something like ViewPort, and I think the future of ViewPort, you know, is uncertain at this point. You know, we don't. It really depends so much on public input, whether there's an interest in continuing ViewPort for next year in terms of scale and location and the length of the show. But one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is, I mean, really, it is about community and people enjoying art and being a part of art and being a part of art in a lot of different ways, whether you're an observer or an artist, or maybe you're on a team with some other people building something together. You don't necessarily, you know, you're handy, but you don't think of yourself as creative, but you can still be a part of an art piece in some other way. There's opportunity within art, and I think a lot of people think art is for artists, which it is on one hand, but there's a whole other world of art that can be very accessible to everyone, and it's really about community building, ultimately, in my opinion.
It's about community building, and I've always been of the belief, and still am, is that there's a 50-50 relationship going on here. Okay, the artist is nothing without the audience or the observer. Okay, right. And both have a responsibility. One has a responsibility of creating the art, and one has a responsibility of observing the art. Okay, if one of them is not taking care of their responsibility, it's not art. Right. It's not affected. It's just if the only person looking at the art is the artist himself, okay, is it still art?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I think that one should create for themselves, you know, primarily, and then I think that's another part of it. I understand what you're saying, and I think that's definitely a part of it. But if you're only creating for other people, then I don't know. Yeah, that's another. It's just another element or a dynamic of it. But I think you have to create for yourself.
Well, that's always been my experience, because I'm in a performing kind of art genre. So if I went up and did a play and there was nobody watching, I'd have a problem with identifying my art as art. Okay.
Does that happen to you?
Actually, it has. Actually, it has. Okay. So it's good practice. Okay.
Right.
Oh, but you know, but art is, as I've always said, is always about interpretation. Okay, and actually the toughest people about interpretation are other artists. It's like, you know, other actors interpret other actors in a different way. Other artists interpret other artists a different way. Where I actually like the interpretation of people who are separated from the art, okay, and can see it for what it is, okay, and it's.
But I think a lot of people have like art anxiety, and you know, I had friends, and I sat down one time at this party with this woman who was a very conservative woman and liked very, you know, landscapes, flowers, things like that. And, yeah, you know, and which is fine, you know, and she said, I don't really understand art, and I said, on a certain level, you don't have to understand it. You know, I said, you know, when she had met her husband, I said, you liked your husband, you love your husband for why you like him, you're attracted to him, whatever. It's the same thing with art. It's like you're attracted to something. You know, Pollock said that people look at his paintings and they would judge them. What does it mean? He says, you don't look at a bed of flowers and say, what's that mean? You have to like be able to enjoy something, look at it, enjoy it without trying to interpret it or feel like you got to figure it out. Right. And it's because then it gets lost. It gets lost in this cloud of crap.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, so and then it becomes inaccessible, and people feel like they can't express themselves. The worst thing I hate is I hate when someone says, I'm not an artist. Oh, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. It's like it has nothing to do with straight lines or anything. It has to do with expressing who you are.
Absolutely.
You know? So, and that's, I think that.
I just want to. That's the most passionate I've ever heard Chris speak. So he's like banging it out. He's right. It's absolutely. So real quickly, tell me who's involved with ViewPort. What other artists have you got in town who've been involved?
You want us to go through the list right now?
Yeah, go. Tell me some of those people that you got out there.
Okay, well we'll start out of town. We had an artist, Margie Butler, who did a piece that was only up the opening day. It was called Shrouded Shells. and she wrapped fabric and sewed fabric around shells and arranged them on the beach. Another piece was done, we already talked about The Moonlight Receiver by Russell, and Rebecca Harding's Medusa's Ark, which is the jellyfish. Then, and Chris's piece. There was a piece called Waterfront Property. You may have seen it. It was a floating dock with sod on it. That was done by a local landscape designer who I work for, Tanya Kelly. And we had a piece by John Catola, which was paintings of roosters that was mounted on the picnic pavilion. Right. And then there was a sculpture made out of steel, I guess, metal tubes, tubing. That was Mike Hansel's piece. He's from St. George's School. And he's a very well-known sculptor in town. Then there was Alexander Nesbitt's piece, which was the photographs that were laid into the ground, which is the aerial view of Kings Park. Yep, that was great. And then there was an artist who is from South County, Troy West. He's an architect also, and he did the piece Oil, which was a modified stop sign. And then Rose Escobar, who's from up here in Portsmouth, she and a group of students that she works with did the piece that was had the CDs and all the stuff hanging off of it, the tribal roots. Yes.
How much longer do we have to view this art?
October 10th.
Yeah.
So it's over October 10th.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone out there, if you haven't been down to Kings Park to look at the ViewPort presentation, you should. It's actually kind of cool. Color on the water, if you will. Okay. And of course, I want to thank Kate Dana, okay, and Chris Wiley for bringing it to our attention. And we look forward to this being continued.
Well, hopefully we will. We're going to have a meeting, I think, toward the end of October, a public meeting, and then we'll get it out to the press when that's going to be, so that anybody who has ideas about what they'd like to see it as next year, if there is next year. There are a lot of questions we have and that we want to put out to the public.
And the
so
Facebook, easiest access to it is, what is it called? Project One on Facebook. You put in Project One. And you can like it, and then you can add to the page and things like that.
Great.
So.
Stay in touch with us. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank
ACA News and activities. Arts Around the Fire has returned. Yes, Arts Around the Fire is a monthly networking opportunity for local artists, designers, photographers, everybody who's involved with the arts to meet at the Clark Cookhouse. It's on the fourth Thursday of every month. It starts up again here in September, and it begins at 5:30. So there's no charge. It's very, very, very informal. There's usually a guest to speak about something that's of importance that we should know about in the arts. So Arts Around the Fire is coming back in September. So we'll be seeing you down at Arts Around the Fire at the Clark Cookhouse. Also in our October news, okay, the Newport Art Museum on October 17th, 2010. Music in the Galleries. Join us for an afternoon of concerts with the Rhode Island Philharmonic Dual Ensemble Flute and Kudo. It's at 2 p.m. at the Griswold House. In keeping with the Chinese craze, Manawaso Flute and Sumi Kanko, or Koto, will perform traditional Japanese music and contemporary works that are a fusion of Japanese classical music and American jazz. On October 20th, we have the Photo Guild meeting, seeking the pictures and capturing the moment, presented by Richard Schultz. That's also at the Griswold House at 7 p.m. And there's a new murder mystery in town, and it's at the museum. It's called Murder in the Museum. It's on Thursdays. It's October 21st, 2010, at the Griswold House at 7 p.m. And also, finally, the news. There's a music at the museum on the fourth Friday at the museum. Okay, so there's music at the museum at the fourth Friday at the museum on October 22nd. Fourth Friday presents, there's going to be a band, art and live music, and a cash bar. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Griswold House. Thank you for being here for ArtScene's very first show. We want to thank Chris Wiley and Kate Dana for bringing to our attention ViewPort down at Kings Park. please take the opportunity to go on down and check all that out. And until we see you again, this is Tom Erb. Goodbye.